Hey guys, you talking about dragons today?
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we discuss and celebrate some of our favorites in TV and film. I am your host, Xavier, and today I am super excited to be talking about the live action version of How to Train Your Dragon. And talking about this great movie with me is going to be my fellow Popcorn Watchlist panelists. You got Anthony, Danny, and on this episode, our special subject matter expert, Zach.
Yes, you're damn right.
Oh
How
man,
you
yeah,
doing?
I've been waiting for this for the longest time, just to see Zach's initial reactions. You guys hear me a lot on these episodes, for better for worse. But I think we're gonna have a little bit more of a kind of a takeover from Zach's side. But it's not just a show. I think I will tell you guys that, and everyone listening, that he has some pretty perceptive insights and a great passion for the movies and the TV show that was on Cartoon Network for a while. So
And the water.
and the water, guys, and the water. But more importantly, it's something that he holds dear. So Universal and DreamWorks really had to work special to see if whether or not we won over Zach. So without further ado, this is the second of our two animation to live action remakes of the year of 2025. And it's pretty wild to see this happening, but overall, it's we could be doing worse. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff. I would say, throwing it out to Zach from the beginning, what are some of the things that you were initially worried about when it came to trying to adapt this to live action?
Man, I feel like there are probably a couple of major things. One being how they were going to translate some of the expressions and the look of characters and things like that. Kind of like when you have like the Lion King and then Lion King live action. It's kind of like how with the animation you can give the characters like human expression, human and make certain facial expressions that are very very human like.
Yeah, like more expression. Like you can animate and emote a lot more than you have to throw somebody in front of a real camera, and they have to accentuate that. There has to be something else that has to work all together to really get that happening.
Yeah, because
you can't just throw a funny face. Like, that's got to be real.
Yeah, because it was like with the Lion King live action, then it's like all that went away because they went with photorealism and it doesn't work the same way.
Live action in quotation marks.
Well, yeah,
it was all
CG characters.
Yeah, Anthony and I love to point that out. It's like live action, quote unquote.
Wait, that wasn't a real dragon?
You mean
we're talking about Lion King, the Lion King one,
or real lions?
Lions? No, they were not. It was a real sunset, though. That was the only real thing.
Hans Zimmer.
That was the only real thing in the movie.
And Hans Zimmer.
Well, Hans Zimmer is always the realist.
The realist. Cool. So yeah, you're worried about how certain things were going to translate, like how characters were going to come out to life, how they're going to express themselves, and not just be lost in a whole bunch of live and practical sets or live and practical costuming and makeup. Like, how are they still going to emote, everything, like a lot of Hiccup's mannerisms, at least from the animated one, are pretty iconic, like the kind of super shy kid, and and then he gets his like giddy excitement, like the eyes kind of pop up, and a lot of characters do that. But the art style is pretty unique with How to Train Your Dragon, so I get that for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
the biggest thing was going to be just like how the movie will look visually, because in animation, a lot of things are exaggerated a little bit more artistic style, like how characters look, how characters react to things, their expressions, things like that. So that was a big thing, and I think they did a pretty solid job of it. It wasn't amazing in any way, but I think it was serviceable in a way.
okay, got it. Um, so anything that you were surprised about, like positively surprised, that came out well, or that maybe you weren't expecting, and you thought, hey, you know what, that actually worked.
Ooh, that
Question, right? Yeah, dude, I got him.
I uh, I honestly I don't know. Um, because mainly because I feel like every scene something that was just like changed a little bit, but like, I remember like there being some scenes that were not in there that were in the original that are kind of important actually. I'm sure we can get into that in a little bit, but about like
Yeah, we'll talk
things
more
that
about like
and like
specific
comparing
changes.
scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But um, to be honest, like some of the there were some visuals that I was surprised that looked good in live action than they as compared to how they look like in the original movie. Um, more so with like the effects of things. Not so much like whether it was characters or anything like that, but the way that they created effects for certain things, like like the I think it's called the dragon that sets itself on fire.
A
I think it's
monstrous nightmare.
yes, the monster timer. There we go.
Yeah, I was
I almost said
legitimately
the deadly
surprised
hand. I
about
love it.
that. I looked, I was like, damn, like this thing actually looks like it's on fire. Like that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, they did a good job, kind of uh, redoing that in live action or making it uh, like look good for live action. And then same thing with a lot of the effects, during the climactic fight at the end with with the queen dragon,
Yeah,
um, and then the water, obviously.
absolutely. The
All the
water.
water in the live action movie was real,
It was.
I hate it, but
or
also
was
fun.
it?
Live or
Live water,
Or wet water?
wet water. All right. What did you? So, I guess, yeah, I guess like animation versus live action. One thing that's was supremely consistent is the getting a Gerard Butler back as Stoic. What did you guys think about him?
I actually I'll go not first.
You'll go not first. All right.
I'll go not first. I'll let someone else
Anthony, you go
go
first.
first.
I thought it was great because is he the only returning cast member from the animated?
Well, Toothless obviously too, but no.
Yeah, Toothless is back.
It's not. Well, he's not like Stitch that he actually said
Well,
words, but yeah,
no,
I think he's the only one, and he
Yeah, he's the
still
only
sounded
character.
great. And the makeup and the costuming that they put on him, like it looked like they just
he looked massive.
snatched, yeah, and they just snatched him out of the animated and put him in live action. So yeah, that was perfectly done, and I think they added a few more scenes and moments of his character, which just I think those scenes were pretty well done.
yeah, I don't remember there being like a whole like you had some of the other Vikings start to kind of like
Yeah,
question
yeah. There
Stoic.
was
I don't
no
remember
there was
that.
no council with like random other like houses of Vikings. There's nothing, none of that.
Yeah, but it was cool because it showed more of him like politicking and just like, hey, like, come on, guys, like we can do this. Like, did you like escape from lands to like not only get them back here? And they're like, yeah, damn, good point, buddy. So he was that was very cool. Stoic the Vast, like, and again, like if you look at Stoic's character model, you're like, damn, this is ridiculous and over the top. then you saw him in the beginning opening attack, and like, oh, that's legit. Yeah. And then at a certain
I
point,
think he
like you
just
just
punched
He just
a
punches him in
dragon in
the
the
face.
beginning.
Yeah.
oh yeah, he just rolls up and decks it. It's like, roll up, square up. All these dragons coming after our sheep. Like square up. I loved that. I thought that was so freaking cool. Like it came out really well. And with the edit extra layers and dimensions, I think Gerard Butler really like knocked it out. Like he did a great job. Again, like I could be biased because Gerard Butler's cool, but yeah,
No,
like
yeah, he's cool. It was almost like he like chose to be like the steward to like bring the old to the new, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna continue the legacy and like be part of this.
yeah, it adds and, like other than also the I would say if anything the
And the
other
director.
returning yeah I was gonna you beat me to it like the other returning person was Dean DeBlois like who directed the original animated film and he like it was a great way to kind of like bridge the gap but also add the like some more like authenticity to the remake and it being a case of like hey this is gonna be cool it's like like James Earl Jones, like being Mufasa. Like there's no other person that's gonna be Mufasa in like Lion King. If we're gonna use that same analogy,
Hmm.
that was cool. What about you, Danny? How do you think Gerard Butler did?
I thought it was great. It was cool to see him return, and it still had some of the humor, but then also some of the serious moments. Um, and then obviously him in action was pretty cool to see.
Oh yeah, again it was surreal. That's really cool. All right, let me kick it over to
And
Zach.
the costumes was actually
Yeah.
pretty
You're right.
good.
Yeah, before we kick it to Zach, yeah, the costuming really helped sell like having stoic and actually the rest of those Vikings like look legit, look
Like the
lived
whole
in.
town, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, Burke seemed like a town that like yeah, like we're rough and tumbling Vikings, but like we make it work, and it's cool to see it. Like, hey, this is actually maybe a little more like realistic. So very cool. Um, so yeah, Zach, I'll let you go to the very end. I have a feeling there's going to be a lukewarm take, but go for it.
Yeah, just a couple of little nitpicky things. Like having him back, of course, is great because I mean, Gerard Butler is just he's great, and he has such an iconic voice, and he fits the character very well. I thought a good chunk of the scenes that he's in, whether when he's either speaking or he's going hand to hand with a dragon or something, was great. I just felt like some of the lines and scenes that he was given and how he delivered the lines might have been like more hokey than in the original. Like some of them were maybe a little overacted in some cases when compared to the original, and the way that like the lines that he would say and didn't go with the tone of his delivery. I don't know. Like there were just a couple of scenes like that or a couple of things like that in my head I'm like I was immediately comparing it to the animated. And I'm like, well, he doesn't say it this way. He's this way because of like the tone of what he's trying to say or of the feeling that he's trying to come across when he says something. Uh, and also like they cut a couple of they cut a couple of lines also were or well lines and scenes too of his that I think for character development would have been kind of important, not just for also him, but for the rest of the village. Because there's the one scene in the beginning where they're talking about trying to go to the island or trying to look for the nest, and he says, like okay, who's with me? I'm not too sure. And then he says, those who stay will have to look after Hiccup. And everyone's like, oh yeah, I volunteer. I want to volunteer. I don't want to take care of Hiccup.
Yeah, I'm
Like
totally
something
a
like that. I
volunteer.
think
We're
would
all
have brought
volunteering.
yeah, like it would have brought a little bit more humor to like to that scene, but also to the like for the movie in general because it does have its funny. They left that out and changed it to a more inspirational thing. But that that's part of his character. It's like look, either I like my son is who he is. Like, do you guys want to get involved with this, or do you want to take care of him?
Yeah. I took it more as like hey, like if you're not gonna do that, then this is gonna be the other responsibility. It's like, oh well, then no, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, like you took it as a way like the delivery was more like insulting, or is it more just like, or it could have like been given a different way, and it's like, oh, like it would like have a little like lighter tone to it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
even though it wasn't, they could have
they could have,
thrown
like you
that in
said, you're
there.
nitpicking. You're nitpicking.
But just a couple of nitpicky things. But also uh, a couple of a couple of other places where like when he gives Hiccup the breastplate helmet. Like
Oh
during
yeah.
that scene, there were other lines too that they cut out that they altered a little bit. And then also like his delivery didn't fit well, but for the most part, again, just uh, everything, a lot of what he did was really well done,
Okay.
or a good chunk
Cool.
of it.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So we talked about a little bit of like some of the changes. So, but we talked. Obviously, we highlighted Gerard Butler, but I think credit goes to the rest of the cast being able to kind of bring these characters like to life and live action. Nico Parker, stellar job. At least what I thought as Astrid. Mason Thames as Hiccup. I think really like gave the key, did his homework. It came out really well. Gabriel Howell as Snotlout was the right amount of like douchebaggery. I don't know how you guys like initially thought of Julian Dennison as Fish Legs, but he made it work. I think he actually made it work in his own little way because like I'm so used to hearing Christopher Mintz-Plasse, but or as Anthony would always say, McLovin.
It's McLovin.
Or what was his name in Role Models?
Oh my gosh.
Howie? No,
No.
no,
Was it Lunesta?
no,
No,
no. That was Paul Rudd's character when they first.
that's right.
Yeah,
No, I
it
forgot.
was.
Gotta rewatch it.
Yeah, it's Augie.
There
I
it is.
cheated. Yeah, it was Augie. But yeah, like hearing him all the time, and then it's like you go and you see Julian Dennison. It's a different, like, again, it's you have to take some of that I think away, and then but it still worked. Like him being like the nerdy one of the group, um, and then like Tough Nut and Rough Nut still had like the same type of banter, though it's like less. I think it's a little like maybe less noticeable that they're twins. I don't know if it was more like they were fraternal twins or not, but it was still pretty damn funny.
I
Well,
think
I
they made a
mean,
joke about it.
I mean, any twins that are one boy and one girl
They're usually
already fraternal.
always fraternal, but like it's like so they're not like exactly identical. Yeah, right. But yeah, because it's only on that end. But yeah, they were fun. They obviously added the same type of dynamic where they're like fighting each other more than actually trying to fight the dragons.
Yeah, just like more bickering and fighting.
Yeah. Special shout out goes to Nick Frost. Great job as Gobber again. Like I think being the again a peg leg semi mentor to a group of young kids.
He was having a blast.
The second time, I hope he had a blast, man. Like it looked like he had a lot of fun with that. And like he delivered a lot of the more like emotional moments too, as well in the movie. I think big shout out to him. He's gonna have to flex some more of those when he's Haggard. So, big ups to him on that. And then Zach and I were joking about this earlier, but big shout out to Peter Serafinowicz as Snotlout's dad. Like his dry delivery on all his stuff was awesome. Like it made the whole like payoff at the very end where he's like, "Yeah, that's my son." Like kind of really worth it. Like, and it's kind of also kind of funny how the movie came out like on Father's Day weekend, where you had this like relationship between fathers and their sons. So,
Oh yeah, huh.
yeah,
Never noticed.
There was one part where he was like, "Don't talk to me."
he's like, "Dad, you're back." And he's like, "Don't talk to me in public." He immediately was like, "Damn!" Again, because like the way he delivered, like he knew. I wonder how many takes that he's just no. It's like, ow, that really hurt. Oh, but we're acting. Don't worry. Yeah, he was great all around. Um, and then I was wondering though, like how like going right into like the adaptations between live action, like a lot of it, I think we can all agree that like with some omissions and some like scenes added, a lot of the scenes were pretty like spot on, like the opening attack, Hiccup shooting down Toothless, him grabbing the knife, um, and then like a lot of like the him visiting Toothless to feed him and try to like befriend him, train him, and figure all this stuff out. The actual like uh, dragon fighting training that Gobber has him in. More of a lot of it, like it felt like I don't know,
It's
like
like it's like 90% the same
yeah,
movie. It's very
but like that's not a
almost
bad
no,
thing.
no, it's not. No,
That's what's
not
weird about it.
it's
It's
not
like
completely the same exact movie, but it's most of it. Most of it's the same. I mean, the animated movie was great. So
yeah, like I want to say like the whole bit where Toothless grabs Astrid and they kind of like, you know, want to like, like they freaks her out and then Toothless is doing the whole like I'm gonna freak her out to death, flight sequence. I think it was at a different time of day, maybe, or is it like exactly the same amount of time? Forgot, but that was
For which
pretty
scene
cool.
again? You said?
When Hiccup and brought Astrid to try to help explain what was going on with Toothless, and then like they brought her on to fly, and then Toothless was just like purposefully. It's almost like when you're trying to like you have someone in your car and you know how to like drive scary. Like Toothless was just that on steroids
Yeah.
and flying. So
But yeah,
like I
because
don't know
it's
if that was
in
a different time of day or I don't remember, but
no, it was like in the
it
middle of
was
the day.
still at night in the animated film.
yeah, because the way that they did it was, I want to say that it was like late where the sun was kind of going down, and then they're flying around, and Toothless is like trying to scare her and like force her
Not
to
trying.
apologize and
Like
whatnot.
it wasn't trying. I'm pretty
But
sure.
he was succeeding.
Yeah, he was
uh,
succeeding.
and then when she apologizes, then and kind of like goes back to like just smooth flying. Then it was more sunset, and then the amazing music plays in the background, uh, romantic flight, and then he does like that loop into the clouds, and then it turns into night like right
That's
away.
right. Yeah,
So all that
that
was
looked
pretty much
really
the same.
good. Yeah, that looked really good in live action. I was afraid that was just gonna be like we're flying green screen, but it looked good.
It did. It came out really nice.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of coming out nice, and we were worried about you know during before we really get into just the comparisons of test flight, but how about that water in test flight? How about that water, dude?
The
Or
Woda.
how about that water exactly? How about that water? The movie, like I think I saw it in the credits. It was shot in between like Iceland, Northern Ireland, and somewhere else. And so it's like all these coastal shots of like these craggy isles, like spectacular, just spectacular. But we need to get the sign off from the man himself.
It seemed like they filmed all of the Burke stuff in Ireland, with all the greenery and stuff there. And then I would think that they filmed the climax where they're on the volcanic island
Yeah, the
uh,
Dragon's Nest. Yeah,
in Iceland. Yeah,
exactly. Okay. Yeah, one
that's
can
what it seems like.
infer. Yeah, one can totally infer. But it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty dope. I think it was. I was like the half the like a quarter of the movie. I'm just like, damn, I need to go. Like where are these shot? Because I want to go here. Like that was I think hopefully that's what a lot of other people got because it looked really nice. Like half a postcard for these places, but also you know uh tell a heartwarming coming of age story. That makes any sense. So we talked a little bit about like some of the standout things, some of the stuff that's different, unique, and some of it that really translated well. But kind of open up to some favorite moments. So Danny, hopefully we didn't steal any of your thunder, but what was a moment that stood out to you, or something you liked from the live action?
Um, I definitely like the beginning sequence because he's kind of like narrating, but then it jumps into the kind of like the dragons attacking, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we just deal with dragons," um, and then that's where you kind of start to see the all the dragons come in, but then obviously you see Toothless briefly in the shadows, and then just seeing the actual like I forgot what they call it, but like his shot or fire breath or whatever it's called. Um, Visually, that looked really cool when it was coming up from the sky.
That's right. Yeah, like the Night Fury fire breath looked cool,
Yeah,
like different from some of the other dragons' breaths. And like I was worried that like because it's so like we saw it in
dark.
Dolby, so you know how
Yeah.
like the blacks are really black. I was like how dark is Toothless going to be as opposed to like the within the night sky. But you could see the blots, the like the stars getting blotted out, so you could see it. So I was like, okay, this came out well.
Yeah, I mean, just like with the original, like you can faintly make out, quote unquote, his silhouette, when he's flying, and Hiccup
Like
was trying to
just
like aim
briefly.
and
Yeah.
uh, launch the whatever that thing is called, the trapper.
Yeah, and that's also the time where we see Gobber for the first time, and a lot of us are thinking like, this guy, he has a lot of prosthetics. Like, how are they gonna like make Gobber a thing? And so that they still had the whole thing of Toothless. I'm sorry, of Hiccup giving him like his arms, literally, like in terms of arms, and then he had his tools to keep it going. Like it came out well. Like I thought it was gonna look really hokey, but it was it suited the style of the movie well. What about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean the obviously the first meetup scene I thought was pretty on point of when Hiccup first meets Toothless. I think in general the special effects on all the dragons looked great, and so yeah, maybe Toothless is a little bit lighter in the animated one, but I still think he looked fantastic. Um, and still looked cute. That was my concern, kind of like what Zach was saying earlier about like Lion King being too lifelike, that maybe they weren't gonna go too into like the cartoony facial expressions that Toothless has in the animated one, but I feel like they stuck the landing on this one, no pun intended. But yeah, that moment, I liked all the training montages of the different the first dragons that they had to fight and then figure out how to beat later on. But yeah.
My God, yeah. I remember watching the animated movie like long ago, like the first time ever, and they're like, "Oh, the terrible terror," or like they're like the great terror. I forget that one dragon. I was like, "What do you mean?" And it's the little
The
one. I
tiny
was
one?
like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Yeah,
I was like,
I think it's the terrible terror.
"Yeah." I'm sure I was. They came out. I'm like, "Oh, great! This is a Monty Python situation," and immediately. And it
Yeah,
still looked good. Like the little guy looked good, but still menacing when it needed to be. Like Anthony, I think is spot on with that. Where they were worried about like the dragons, also even the dragons being able to emote. Like if it's just like the effects are cool, but they're also end up being tameable, and hence the name of the movie, obviously. I did like Fish Legs' introduction. In fact, where he still kept like his whole like, the statistics coming through. So you're looking at him, he's like everybody's looking, he's like, oh, he's one of these guys. Um, and I liked the point where he brings up the Dragon's Manual, and it's just like all the dragons kill on sight, kill on sight, and like it's having seen the original again before watching the remake. I remember that scene kind of being almost like like for Hiccup of just like it was like this whole like overarching theme of just like, oh, all we do is kill these guys. Like just kill the dragons. If whatever, kill on sight, kill on sight. And then it's like, but I'm maybe like a dragon didn't just straight up kill me. So I was like, what's going on here? And I got the same idea from the live action film too. So that was uh Mason Thames's acting, I think, went went far in that sequence too. That's just something that stuck out to me.
I agree too. I feel like they still were able to convey those same the feelings that the characters felt in the live action. Oh, sorry, in the animated, in the live action.
Yeah, that even I think even goes to Astrid. So like yeah, Nico Parker like I think nailed it. Like she's headstrong. She has pride in herself, and she's doing the whole idea of just like, hey, we're it's like growing up to fight and try to eliminate the dragons, but also like having like a chip on her shoulder of just like, no, like I think I have what it takes to kind of lead it. And Hiccup's even like, yeah, you do. And like why not? Like I don't mind. But it's I think she got the nuances of the role really well. Um I think Zach, so kind of we went down the line. I think we talked about Anthony, Danny. What about you? I mean,
Oh,
I'm
me?
giving you the test drive on a platter, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I think we all purposely didn't choose that one.
Yeah, like we're giving you a test drive on a platter.
Uh,
Or there's
let me
another scene
see.
that you can pick too. Hey.
Um,
The very
like
end.
a highlight for
No.
me. I
Yeah. A favorite moment. Yeah.
I mean I think the climactic battle was probably overall one of the better, like the better what's the word, um recreated scene
From the original.
from from the original movie. I think
Yeah, it
pretty
was
much
pretty spot on.
everything is almost beat for beat. It kept the same, or it kept very similar, like how the characters were feeling about dealing with this big threat, the high stakes, things like that. um and then like the kids coming in, riding on the dragons that they had just tamed back in Burke, flying around, distracting it, doing whatever. And then Hiccup and Toothless, uh you know pissing it off to make it fly and everything, to try to take it down that way.
Yeah,
Which,
not to mention the scene before where the Vikings are attacking. You got to see like the when they broke the hole in the mountain and then they throw the fire in just like in the original,
Mhm.
and the
yeah,
lead up to getting like the big queen dragon and Toothless still being on the boat. Like I loved like they still kept the whole idea like, all right, like Stoic's still gonna go down there and free and free Toothless. And that was pretty awesome because then like they came through and their plans. And I think to again to Gerard Butler's testament, like voice acting, the whole point where it's like, I'm proud for you, for you to be my son. Like in live action, like Anthony said, like if you're doing it beat for beat, like you can't just easily just phone it in. But they put effort in that. They knew that
Yeah,
that scene had weight.
it hit hard.
Man, it was really good.
yeah, that I agree with.
They drove it home.
They wrote it home.
Yeah, they flew it home with dragons.
Anyway, um,
Well,
yeah,
can I
that
also?
final sequence is great. Yeah, just like the flying up in the air. How they're trying to figure out how to fight it. All the like, oh, attack the eyes with different eyes, and then hey, we're gonna fly it up. Let's see how it can land, and then
How
how
did you
to
like the design of the final? Was they call it the Queen Dragon?
yeah. I call it the final boss, but yeah, the final dragon.
Are you asking me?
Everybody,
Oh,
everybody.
I I know Zach will have more of a take. Again, I'm not trying to just defer all to Zach, but because poor guy, I don't put all the pressure on you.
At
I
least,
liked it. I
yeah,
think it
at
came
least for
out
me,
well.
yeah, I think
It
it came out
matched
well.
the
It just seemed like they made it the color wise a little bit darker than the animated one.
I don't know if it was darker, but maybe like a little less saturated. Like like you know how like yeah, like they're like there's it's less vibrant. Like the color I think was there, but it didn't pop as much.
Because
But yeah.
they definitely changed the design up a little bit,
Mhm.
like giving it a horn on its nose.
That's true. I didn't notice that. I was just looking at it, I was like, wow, it's huge. And like the
Or
scale was
like
represented really well in live action too.
or probably like a more prominent horn, because it looks like in the animated one, like the horn on its nose is like very small, almost not noticeable, but then this one has like a huge horn, and then some other like little minor, design details. But I mean,
Yeah.
to me, that doesn't really matter. They're going for big and scary dragon.
And and it was indeed big and scary.
I do want
Yeah.
to nitpick something,
Go
not
for
about
it.
not about that scene in particular, but something that kind of relates to it that is mentioned earlier. That's supposed to like give them give Hiccup the idea on how to take it down.
Uh-huh.
Which they didn't have that scene in the live action, but in the
The
original,
fish.
what?
Was it the thing with the fish? I don't know if I remember that. But that was it, or like because there was a scene, or was it like or was it? I don't remember the fish. Keep going. Sorry.
Well, no, it's to do with so right after the test drives, um where Hiccup and Toothless are sitting there, I guess eating, whatever fish
Mhm.
that they had fished up. Um, I remember like one of the terrible terrors taking one of the fish, and then uh, Toothless was trying to get the fish back, and the terrible terror was gonna provoke Toothless, and then Toothless like shot a fireball in his. I don't know if you guys remember that scene.
That was
Yes.
not in the live action.
That was not in live action.
No, it was.
No.
So my thing is that was how Toothless figured out on how to defeat the Queen Dragon at the end, because he says that, oh, you guys aren't so fireproof on the inside, on the outside.
Correct. Yeah, they were fireproof on the inside. That's why they would kind of blow them up whenever there's any. Yep. Good
So
call.
they didn't do that in the live action, or they didn't mention it in any way. Even without that scene, like they didn't really uh, showcase or talk about um, how dragons are not fireproof on the inside. So it makes it gives a different. They go about the final or the final fight there, where he comes up with the idea of, okay, let's get it to the point, or let's aggravate the point where it's going to start spitting fire,
Yeah.
um, and then use that to our advantage to shoot a fireball into its mouth and cause it to uh, you know combust, I guess, cause like the smoke or the gas that it's
Yeah,
building
and
up
hurt it from the inside
for,
out. Yeah.
and hurt, yeah, and do it that way. Um, which is
And it, al-
why that part works, or which is why it makes sense and works very well in the. They allude to it early enough on, um, but they don't do it here, so it just seems more of a like uh like a Hail Mary kind of thing, rather
Mhm.
than like being like, okay, I remember this, let me try this, let me try to see if it works. That's what the original
Okay.
felt like, whereas this one
Yeah,
did not
I
have
got you. Okay.
and it
Yeah,
was a
he kind of did it on the. I hate to say the pun, but he did it on the fly in the final battle. Damn, I'm too good at these.
nice. Uh, and it was also an additional scene to show that, Hiccup's compassion toward the dragons, and that also the reception of compassion that the dragons like take to him. Like he gave that one like baby dragon like a fish, and then like the dragon just like curls up next to him like, oh, thanks, buddy. So it's like just hits more home. Like, yeah, we don't have to kill these creatures. Like, we just
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
to be nice to them and join them.
maybe we can work together. That was the whole idea because they're living out in these really tough terrains and edge of the world kind of thing. It's like why fight these things when there's a way that you can coexist.
And it's
And I
also that they probably also very hungry because the movie shows that all the stuff that they collect, they were taking to the big Mamma Jamma.
yeah, who is just using them and taking advantage of them instead
Mhm.
of coexisting.
Yeah, that's
Message.
also one thing too. That I noticed. I don't know if you guys picked up on it. Which I like that they added it because it doesn't become part of the plot until, or it doesn't become a plot point until the second movie. And I like that they kind of planted the seed for it. So in the second movie, any alpha dragon has the ability to control dragons, like control like other dragons.
Yeah, it has influence over others. I remember
Yeah,
that.
through either through sound or something. I don't know how it works. They explain it, and then uh, in during that fight, they showed for a split second the big dragon trying to uh, control one of the other dragons. I can't remember Tooth, the other ones that one of the other characters were riding. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, they actually like did this. They're hinting at it. Like this is pretty cool. It makes sense because then, for if you watch the second movie, the animated, uh, that's where they got that from. So they're
Yeah.
already kind of planting that seed, and big dragons, like alpha like dragons, are able to uh, influence other dragons, like smaller, weaker dragons. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, like that's why when the friends were flying in to help with the smaller dragons and they were trying to distract the queen dragon, she was kind of like controlling them at some point and they were getting like distracted.
Yeah,
That's right.
but it was only
Yes.
for a
Yeah.
quick second, like for
Right.
2-3 seconds.
But that's what made I forgot the kid's name, but one of the kids' names to get smacked off of his dragon and then like he
Was it
landed
Snotlout or
on the
was it one of the twins?
queen dragon's face.
Because it got distracted and then started to
Mhm.
go towards it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that was Snotlout because then he stayed on there and then he kind of got to do some of his badass moment, and then that's when his dad's like, "Damn, that's my son! Like, my son's a badass. I'm not joshing him anymore." Like, anyway,
How could he see from that high?
uh, he knows what to be ashamed of from afar. Now he can twist it around. Um, nice. Yeah, the final like the climactic sequence like post the dragon ceremony with the elder and Hiccup trying to uh help you protect Toothless or protect the dragons, also Toothless, help him understand. It laid in pretty well of the whole idea of like, hey, like, you know, this is, they're just as afraid because we're both, had the same level of fear. And uh beat for beat, like the emotional points hit. Obviously the lines from the original are there, the writing's still there. um Speaking of things that are still there, like the how Hiccup finally attached the other end of the wing because the tail got cut, and we got I may be selling it short, but the iconic like hand pet to Toothless's head,
Mhm.
like that came out really well. The one difference I think from the initial point where he was supposed to kill Toothless but then couldn't, didn't he faint in the original and he didn't in the live action?
yes,
Okay, cool. I did catch that. I was like, oh, he didn't faint. I was
yeah.
like,
That was one
okay.
thing that I think for comedic purposes they could have thrown that in there.
Yeah, because it was a tense sequence. Like it was really tense. Like
Was it a feint though? Because I took it as like he was still like Toothless was still kind of like knocked out and tired and was just like, I'm not gonna like look at this person that's about to kill me.
Well,
Instead
no,
no,
of like
no, no. I'm talking about
he
at
was
the end
setting
when
him
he
free,
frees Toothless with the
okay,
after
okay.
the
and he
net.
pins him up
And
against the
like,
rock, and he just roars at him.
Right,
And
right.
then Hiccup's like, after Toothless is like run off, Hiccup is like trying to grab the knife without like while still laying there on the ground, and he gets up and he starts to walk away, and then he's kind of buckle and he falls over. He's like,
Right,
"Ugh,"
right, right.
and he smacks the floor or smacks the ground. They
As like
left
a
that
like
out.
yeah. Yeah, but like Zach said, like could have been funny, like maybe it's a little bit, but it might have gone overboard in terms of diffusing the tension. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you almost got 8, but you didn't get 8. So what's the best reaction is to like literally pass out from the adrenaline rush and freak out of
Yeah,
facing what is supposed to be like the most dangerous dragon that they know about.
but remember, it's supposed to be a kids movie, so they
Yeah.
can break the tension with comedic whatever at any point. They did that with the original. I mean, Gobber is the he's the comedic relief of the movie. So they could have done it with they for any other character they could have put whatever lines or reactions that were funny and kept them. So that would have been one of those few things that would have been funny to have, but also like true to what happens in the original.
Yeah, like it would have fit. I guess yeah, I guess the consensus from us all, like, yeah, it could have fit. I think it could have been pretty cool. Um, I think but the one thing we meant one thing that remained. Actually, there's two things that remain consistent as well. If we're talking about going to close out some of our favorite moments. Um, I mean, I could say three, but I did also like the training montages, especially the beginnings where like again like the point where you have to attack the dragon from its sides and Gobber's teaching that lesson, like the highlighting of Astrid, and it's cool to see like Nico Parker is able to the choreography was still there, where she's able to still be a badass. Um, and also the when as Hiccup starts learning like different ways to maybe tame some of the dragons, like those still showed up like again really well and translated from animation to live action. Like again, he's interacting with the dragons, and it doesn't look like he's interacting with something like really fake. So I think it really like it translated really well. Anybody has any other insight, please add. But I just thought it was really cool. I'm just like, this is great. Like just kind of really captured by it all.
Well, one thing I also want to add to like favorite moments is well more so like of something like what they've also brought back from the original, which we didn't talk about all too
Mhm.
much. John Powell, the
Dude,
composer.
you beat me to it. I was
We're
gonna say
waiting.
two things that were consistent. One was gonna be was test flight or test drive, and second is which goes hand in hand is John Powell. Like so, technically the third person that came back.
Yeah, because the music was in the original was amazing. Is amazing. I mean, it got nominated for an Oscar in 2011, 2012, I believe. Was that the year that Social Network won? Right,
No,
No, it was not.
that was
2011.
2011 because I'm working on
Danny,
2010.
I was gonna say, Danny, do the research real quick, but
Okay, because How to Train Your Dragon did come out in
Also came out in
2010.
2010. Oh, okay, so maybe.
Yeah, so that was the year that it lost to that everything lost to
It,
Social
as
Network.
as much as I like the music to this movie, it's not better than Interstellar.
Well, different years, different years.
No, it's the same year, isn't it? No, wait, Interstellar
No,
is 2015.
no, Interstellar
I'm
is
sorry.
2015.
I'm sorry. 2010 would have been
Social Network. Oh,
Inception.
and that other
Social Network
movie,
and Inception.
Inception. Yeah.
Yeah, the other
How to
Nolan
Train
one.
Your Dragon is better.
no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So then it wasn't. Yeah, it was social. We said social network, right? I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
we were thinking of anything Alexander Desplat.
No, no,
That's
no,
like
no.
Anthony's other nemesis in terms of
It's not
like
my nemesis.
OGs.
It's
Hans
Hans Zimmer's
Zimmer's.
nemesis.
Like yeah,
And and so is who are the people that who was it, Atticus Ross and
Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor.
Yeah,
Oh man, I can't wait for Tron Ares.
Tron Ares, that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I watched that not
Yep.
get nominated for that
I
one.
know, it'll be hilarious. I'll be like, "This is the
No,
one
I
that you
want it
guys
to
can
be good
nominate?"
though.
I know. No, the thing is it will be good, but it won't be nominated because the Academy may not see the movie to be good. So like, "Oh, we're not even gonna bother to nominate the music."
Yeah. As a side note, I'm gonna go off on this tangent because I looked it up and I remember now. 2010 had How to Train Your Dragon, 127 Hours, Social Network, Inception, and The King's Speech. And
Mm,
Alexandra Desplat did The King's Speech.
but
So it
he
was
didn't win.
like no, it was Alexander Desplat, Hans Zimmer, John Powell, sorry, A.R. Rahman, and then Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Like that was like a low key stacked like year. Like that was just like damn, like it just it was as a side note just to show how good John Powell scores for How to Train Your Dragon. The man's nominated for an Oscar. You know, you got
Yeah,
to bring him
the
back. It's
animated
not the movie
movies
without him.
usually don't get nominated for best score unless they're very good. You know, it's like some Pixar movies,
Up,
like Up,
Ratatouille,
Ratatouille with
Wally.
Giacchino,
Yeah, yeah, very very
I
good
mean, it
point.
Yeah,
was
the
also
score. I
or
mean, the
Hans
score has a
Zimmer,
lot
like
of.
Lion King.
it
What
was
happened,
also
Danny?
it was also nominated for best animated feature.
That's right.
What was?
Oh yeah. Did it win I'm
No,
assuming it lost like a Pixar movie.
Toy Story 3.
Oh yeah,
Toy
Toy Story 3. So
You
good.
know, hey,
Should have
you're gonna
won.
lose to one. You can lose to Toy
I mean,
Story
there was
3.
only 3 nominees. It was Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, and The Illusionist.
Okay,
For
got it.
animated movie.
Yeah, for animated.
Right. So you know that because Toy Story 3 is also nominated for
Yeah,
Best Picture, that it's just
that's
gonna
it.
win that
Yeah,
award.
Yeah, it's just like Toy Story 3. Nope, we're done. We're not putting anything else in. I love that. It's like nope, we're not. No, no, thank you.
they tried.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like like in recent years when they have in the international movie category, when that movie is also nominated for Best Picture, you're like, okay, so like you already know who's gonna win this category.
yeah, that is absolutely fair. Yeah, we say this a lot, but yeah, John Powell is like one of the MVPs of How to Train Your Dragon. I think the like a lot of the sequences and a lot of the various scenes like and set pieces wouldn't be what they were without the score. And he even adds I think like different layers to the main theme. Like he interweaves it. There's a little more of like an epic bit to it. There's a little more choral stuff I think at the end of the credits. It's a little more layered in live action. I hope you guys agree too, but I heard some like distinctive like like he's elaborated more. It wasn't just like, hey, it's time to copy paste and it's a free paycheck for me. Like he put in work. I'm really happy to see that, and I think I thank him for it because the movie just made the movie that much better.
Yeah, some of the pieces were definitely enhanced with more instruments, like more layers of instrumentation. Um, I guess to make it sound even more fuller, because I mean the original pieces are fantastic. I think the way that they're arranged and the instrumentation uh, fit for what they needed back then. So to add a little bit more to it, enhanced it by just a little bit more. Now I'm hoping, let's say, because I'm a big fan also of the second movie score, especially this one track called Stoic's Ship. If you know, you know,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
where
hey,
they add
this is
bagpipes.
be careful, sir. But yes, yeah,
They add bagpipes. Like you would think bagpipes and an orchestra together. Nah, that makes no sense. Let me tell you, I have never been more incorrect in my entire life.
yeah, man. Bagpipes are very when used well, like they really work, dude. Like I've been a fan of bagpipes since like elementary school. I'm talking about like over 30 years ago. Like
But
I
they
went to
have to blend. Like it's not just like you play because bagpipes are a very harsh instrument, like a very harsh sounding instrument. Uh, just because of like this how they're designed and how they're played and whatnot. So they are very harsh, but it has to be like how it's blended in with the music. Like in that P Stoics ship, they're not played like where they drown out the rest of the orchestra. They're balanced in a way that you hear the bagpipes, but with the rest of the orchestra. So it's not they're not clashing too, which is why I think it works very well. It has
I
to
get
be
what you mean.
balanced
Yeah, I
properly,
get
so
what you
that
mean.
way it's not overwhelming the rest of the orchestra, and you're just getting like what's that one piece from it's a very famous bagpipe piece.
That's the one that it's the one it's the one they used when Spock died in Star Trek Wrath of Khan. You know what I'm talking about. I can't be the
I
only
can't
nerd.
remember what that sounds like. Oh, Scotland the
Uh,
Brave. Scotland the Brave. That's the piece I'm thinking of.
okay. Oh, okay. That's the March one.
The March. Yes. Like yes.
Okay, I'm thinking what is.
Oh, Amazing Grace.
Yeah, but in bagpipe form.
No, no.
Amazing
I'm
Grace
thinking
in
more of
bagpipe form.
when I think of bagpipes, I think of more of like marching music. So
Yeah, in Scotland the
Scotland the
Brave. Yeah.
Brave is the first one that comes up.
I don't know why my brain went Amazing Grace and Wrath of Khan, but it worked, honestly. You can't tell me it didn't work.
I mean, I feel like that's one of the more popular instruments to play for that song.
Oh, yeah, because of Star Trek. No, I'm kidding. But also,
I
you're
mean,
right in
even just
general.
anywhere. Like I feel like most versions I hear are of that song are the bagpipe versions.
Yeah. But anyway, back to your point. John Powell knows what he's doing. He makes this movie awesome. Test Drive works in so many ways. Like even with the, all the different patterns that Hiccup made with the harness, and to change the flaps on the wing or on the tail, to then just decide, no, I'm gonna do it on my own. I learned this. I know what I need to do, and it's perfect. Like that whole sequence is perfect. I have no notes. Like it is absolute perfection. Too good. And that deafening silence is all agreeance.
Yes, that scene's amazing.
Yeah, that scene is
I'm like
amazing.
98% in agreement. In agree.
You know what? You know what he didn't
98.
like? A certain shade of the water.
No, dude, the water looked great. It looked so good. I didn't know which scenes were real and which ones weren't, except for maybe when they're super high up flying over. I don't know. Maybe they used actual cameras above
Up
the
in the air.
actual ocean to
They
just like
definitely
zoom
use
over.
helicopters and planes to get some of those shots
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like it was done
practically.
good enough where I couldn't tell. And all the scenes where Hiccup was on Toothless looked great. Because nowadays, or at least I kind of compare it to Game of Thrones. Like when I see people like riding on dragons, um, and it looked the
I know
best to me
exactly what you mean. I've seen too many of those shots.
of like them just like on like a robotic harness, like a bull seat harness, and then they're probably like behind a green screen or something like that,
Yeah, in
or in
terms of
front of
like
one.
the CGI, I think they did a good job with that. Like my only issues were just one, the whole point of the flight was like, or the whole point of like the midway through the flight where he comes
Where
off
he,
of the back of Toothless is that
hmm
his cheat sheet flies off, and
yeah, and he's just
they
like,
didn't do that. And then at the end where he makes it through the rocks, the rock spikes and everything.
yeah, it
He
flies off
does the
later, and then
cheering
that's
thing,
when he
and
just goes,
then
"Oh, I don't need it."
yeah, well, yeah, that too. Yeah, they didn't have that because of he didn't lose quote unquote his cheat sheet. But then also at the end after he the rocks, that's when Toothless like shoots the fire blast and they fly through it, and he goes, "Oh, come on!" And then he's like charred up from
Yeah,
like
from
his
the
skin has
smoke.
like
Hmm.
soot on it and everything.
Yeah.
And then that's when we get that scene of uh you know Toothless shooting the little fire into the mouth of the terrible terror, and we get like that plot point.
Yeah, that'll.
That's where all that comes from.
Yeah, that was like that was like after the test drive. Like, oh, we have to relax. Like, we worked a lot there. Yeah, I get that. All right, so yeah, he's like
They turn that fly
90%.
into a fireball.
All right.
All right, Zach, I have
What a
maybe a final question for you,
Ooh,
and I
final
already
question.
know the answer, but I just want to hear it. So, out of the live action adaptations that we recently watched, which one was
Recently, or
better?
like out of all of them? Let's
Recently
go big.
and all of them.
Let's do all.
Say the question, like which one I liked most?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
between
out
this
of
one and
all the
Lilo and
recent live
Stitch,
action
which
remakes.
one do you like better? And then from any others that you can think of, how does this one rank?
I will say that this is one of probably my favorite one, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think it was perfect or like even really really good,
Okay, fair.
because I kind of put it up there with, or when I think of good live action remakes in recent, like in more recent history, like in the last 10 years, let's say, um Jungle Book is one that comes to mind as being a really good one.
Oh yeah, damn,
Mhm.
good call.
I think
Okay,
Cinderella was well done. I just don't know how many people watched it.
The one with Chris Pine in it.
Is he in it? The one with Lily James as Cinderella, and it was directed by Kenneth Branagh.
I
Kenneth
think
Branagh directed that.
Yeah, it was like one of the
Wow.
first live action Disney movies of this like current era that they did.
Yeah, because it came out. Damn, 2015, guys, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Early 10 years.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
sorry, not
Kenneth
Chris
Branagh
Pine.
directed it.
Chris Pine was in one of those like princess
Yeah, he
movies,
got
live
me.
action princess movies.
Yeah, Richard Madden was in
That's
this one.
he might be in the Princess Diaries. Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
No, it was something. It was something else. I'm
Damn,
gonna
I
look it
have to
up
watch
right
this.
now. But
Dude, this cast is stacked. The
No,
hell?
it's surprisingly good. Like it was a good
Into the
adaptation.
Woods, Into the Woods, which is another Cinderella property, actually. Funny enough, or it's based off of
It's based off of various different like
various ones.
fairy
Yeah.
But you're
tales.
saying you liked Into the Woods as a adaptation?
No.
Oh,
I
you're
was
just mentioning
thinking
it.
that the Cinderella movie was the one was into the or in the Into the Woods, because I was thinking of Chris Pine being in it, but I got him confused.
No, okay, no, okay. I know this is a tangent, but yeah, looking back, like Cinderella, that cast is like stacked. Like Lily James, Richard Madden, Helena Bonham Carter, Kate Blanchett, Stellan Skarsgård, Derek Jacobi, Haley Atwell. Like, damn, like stacked ass cast. It's amazing. And even
Yeah,
the
watch it.
stepsisters,
It's
like, damn, okay.
probably on Disney Plus.
It's probably on Disney Plus. You would
I
hope.
mean, and it looks like it had like pretty solid reviews too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I never
was
saw it.
solid. It's a lot better than the Beauty and the Beast one.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
to
Well, I mean, yeah.
which to be fair, I think the best part of Beauty and the Beast was Dan Stevens, but that's just me. Like Dan Stevens was pretty great. That was like when he was like running on like the Legion high. I was like, damn, this dude's cool.
But
But
okay. So
yeah,
this Cinderella movie is based off Disney's version
Yeah,
of
Disney's Cinderella.
yes,
Yeah.
correct.
not the Brothers Grimm version.
No,
No. Not the Matt Damon movie.
Matt Damon.
The Brothers
I
Grimm.
knew he was gonna. I almost did the voice.
I think we do it at least once every episode.
Matt
We somehow
Damon.
get
Get it back in there.
we speak his name into existence.
Pretty much all the time.
We
So,
need a
all right.
soundboard of
That
one of us
movie's with
saying
Matt
it.
Damon and Heath Ledger, right?
Yes, I believe that's yes.
All right.
Yeah, I believe
That was
so.
fun. That was a fun movie.
But
It
since
came out in 2005.
Well, while you think about it, Zach, I'm gonna flat out say I think this is the best animated to live action adaptation
I agree,
of
100%. Yeah,
any of them.
of any of them, yeah, I agree.
I think so too, but probably not to the same level that you guys are probably thinking that it is. Like you guys are probably giving it in your heads like a 9 or I'm giving it like a 7.5, probably 8.
Yeah,
Kind of
I
like,
was giving it an 8.5. I'm
oh,
just
okay.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if I really enjoyed the animated one already, and this is 90% of that one, then it's like, okay, then it's still really good.
Because
Versus
a
kind of
lot
like
of
how we felt with Lilo and Stitch, where we felt like there was, a few moments and story beats where it was like they didn't need to make these changes. And so it's like it was a overall pretty good adaptation, but you know, this one to me
it could be better.
is a lot better. Yeah, this one is to me is a lot better.
Yeah. This one is leagues better than Lilo and Stitch because it was,
Leagues, damn.
Leagues.
yeah,
Like
because
Man said
20,000,
leagues.
20,000.
Under a
the
sea.
original director did this one. So whereas opposed to Lilo and Stitch, where the original director just did the voice of Stitch, so
Right.
and he had probably like not that much creative control. Uh,
Yeah,
if I
it, and
if
it
we're being honest
and it
here,
shows. Like you can tell that, obviously if he's directing his movie, his same movie, he has the most passion for it. So he's gonna do his best to try to recreate whatever he already did on the animated version. And
yeah,
yeah,
he's gonna
I
have
think he
final
did a really
say
good job.
in how something goes,
Hmm.
how something looks. So
And I'm sure they probably still had storyboards from the animated one, so it was probably much easier to recreate like exact shots from the
Oh, How to
animated.
Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I
Like it's
think
harder to do that when you have like for Lilo and Stitch, when you have a brand new person coming in who doesn't have that background of already working on it and kind of just like, okay, let me see how they did this and let me try to recreate it. Like, no, this guy already did it and he already has it in his head, and they probably already have examples to just look off of and be like, yeah, let's just do it this way.
yeah. It goes to say that like, the passion, and when they talk about passion and reverence for source material, like it makes it to the point like, hey, like it's like if like Brad Bird were going to make a live action Incredibles, it's like, okay, like I know like this is like, my child, so I know how to like bring this into this particular version of the medium, or like, so it's like having Dean DeBlois really be like attached to it and be sort of like the focal point of the vision behind it. It really showed with this one. Like I
You
think,
might
yeah,
have
we
just
all
given
agree. What's up?
you might have just given Disney their next idea,
Yeah, they're
because
just like, wait a minute,
Brad
like,
Bird hasn't done a live action movie since Ghost Protocol.
yeah. So at this point, it's just like, wait a minute, like we're gonna do these. Like maybe we take a picture, a page out of DreamWorks and Universal. That's bring the guys who know how to do this if they're willing to do it. You know what I mean? Like they can't just be. I know those guys may say, hopefully, if they see it as like, oh, this is the quick cash grab, then no, I'm not gonna do it. But
I mean,
that's neither here nor there.
it's weird to say, but Incredibles 1 is 20 years old.
Stop. Okay, we're stopping this. Okay,
So
so
it's not like,
in
oh, it's too soon, kind of like
yeah,
how they're doing a live action Moana already. It's like
yeah,
that recently just happened. Like you can do a live action Incredibles 1, and I don't think many people will complain.
yeah. I
And
think
they'll
How
just
to
have to
Train Your
space it
Dragon.
out between releasing it close to a Fantastic Four movie because
Yeah,
it's
you know.
similar.
But I think like How to Train Your Dragon, it's like maybe 15 years might be the sweet spot,
Yeah.
unless it's like, yeah, if 15 years can be the sweet spot, and it shows it does well, then if it's necessary to do it, you know what I mean? Because like Zach's point, like you just put it in live action, but it's like soulless and there's no expression behind it, then what's the point? There's really no point. So
Right.
I think if
Agreed.
we're okay, everybody, we can kind of just we wrap that up. We can kind of write that page into the chapter of dragons. We're gonna make the reference to the movie, but the movie's great. I'll speak for the whole panel here that we all enjoyed our time watching it. If you listen to this episode, let's say you've seen the original animated one, or now if you're on that point in your life where you have little ones of your own, it's a great story with a great message. It's made really well. All the cast does a wonderful job, and it's a great time at the movies. And if I don't know if it's still there wherever you have it, but if you really want to get something special, watch it in 40x. I've seen some videos, and it looks incredible. So,
It's also a good time to if you can maybe now go back and rewatch the animated trilogy.
yeah, they're great movies. You don't have to go really deep and watch all the TV show episodes, but I mean, if you want to, go for it. But anyway, the animated movies are
Probably too
good.
much.
There's rumors of maybe by 2027 or 2028 they want to make part two, which if
Yeah, that would be good if they could do it every 2 years.
yeah, so if
To put
uh,
into perspective, it took 9 years to do 3 movies.
yeah, it took 9 years to do three movies, and if they're gonna do them like in 3 year chunks, then great. I
You don't
think
want
yeah.
the actors to get that much older either.
Yeah, you have to like age him up because like part three, Hiccup's supposed to be like 21. So if you're gonna make him
Oh yeah,
21
because
in
it
part
goes
two,
from
it's like,
15
oh,
to 20.
how from when to
Part
when?
1 and 2,
Part
like
one to
15
what?
years to 20 years.
Oh, so he aged 5 years. Okay,
Yeah, and then the third movie is only 1 year after the second.
got it. Consult the lore master Zach, of course. All right, yeah. If anybody has any closing thoughts, I think we've got it the bag. We've had a recommendation, definitely popcorn bucket worthy.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I just
Well,
hope that they keep up the momentum if they do end up doing a second movie.
Yeah,
how is this
And
one
keep
doing
it
in the
true.
box office?
as
Like,
of
is it warranting a sequel?
it are at least from an article from the Associated Press last 5 days ago, it made $358 million worldwide.
Mm.
So it's looking solid. You
With
know,
what 150 budget, 150 million.
I believe so. Yeah. Yep.
So it's one 150
150
million,
million,
and worldwide gross so far is
It was 150.
376.
Yeah.
376. Yeah, I think
So
if it
it's
gets to
probably just
600,
breaking
that's
even
great.
already.
Yeah, if it gets to 600 million, I think they'll consider that a success.
They may not get to that.
We'll see. If yeah, July's a stacked month, so we'll see.
It's definitely, along with Lilo and Stitch, those will be like, and Elio now too. Those are like the three kids movies
That'll just
to
stay in
go to.
rotation.
Yeah, so it's like there's like three kids movies, multiple teen movies, and then there's your horror movies. So there's like a good amount of summer movies for the whole crew.
Yeah, that's like yeah. You have so there's something for everybody basically. Can't you can't go wrong with that.
Make sure you
So
don't take your kids accidentally to 28 years later.
yeah, there are no dragons in there, but there's some other wild stuff. To tune in next time. No, I'm kidding. So yeah,
How
everybody.
how to Train Your Megan? What is this?
How to train your M3gan 2.0? Oh man,
That would be
no,
interesting.
that would be interesting. Uh, yeah. I I definitely like if I can get a chance, I kind of want to just rewatch it again. But watching it in Dolby was kind of a treat because of all the sound, the picture quality. But go watch it. Watch it in a premium format if you can. But the movie is incredible. And with that, I do want to share appreciation. Thank you everybody for tuning in to this episode. Special shout out to Zach today for giving in some of us insights on for one of his favorite franchises. So it's nice to see that. And thank you, sir. Enlightening us on some of your thoughts and some of the extra things we didn't know about.
Yeah, definitely want to keep it as honest and as genuine as possible. If I don't like something, I'm gonna say it. If I like something, I will say it. So
No, Zach, you're supposed to be homogenous one mind. I'm kidding. Great stuff, man. Good stuff,
Keeping it
everybody.
100.
One
I gotta play the
hundo.
team game and say, "Oh yeah, well, it was great, guys," and it's actually a horrible thing.
No.
Yeah. Like,
Don't
I'm
wanna
saying
do
that
that.
it's good because I have to.
Like if yeah, you're not gonna roll in and be like, hey, Battlefield Earth was a great movie. Like I would
No.
think you were a body snatcher person. But yeah. All right, everybody. So
Japanese
until next
weed.
time. Yeah, the movie's so bad. Don't even get me started.
It's not good.
Held
It's
at gunpoint.
good point. Somebody send help if that happens.
Guys, I'm blinking twice. I don't know why you can't see me.
Send help. Oh man. All right, everybody. So until next time, keep that popcorn fresh and hot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.
Later.
Later.
Bye.